Today we'll be chatting with David Bibbey, who will be teaching a specialty class during the Acupuncture and Asian Medicine Conference this year. David, thank you for talking with us today. This
Hi,
year during
Natalia.
this year during the Fsoma Acupuncture and Asian Medicine Conference, you're going to be teaching on state and federal requirements for legal practice.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what inspired you and led you to create this class?
Well, I've been a volunteer board member for FSOMA for more than 10 years now. And one of the areas that I've spent a lot of time um, on committee work and other projects has been in and around legislative efforts that look at the statute for our Practice Act, as well as the rules provided by the Board of Acupuncture. And part of the responsibilities we've had over the years is answering questions from the membership and trying to understand how best to interpret those statutes and rules so that everybody has a really clear understanding about practice. And it's just an area that I've been working in for a long time. And of course, you develop a curiosity and a passion for those things. And I continue to do it. And that's why I've decided to go ahead and teach this class.
Awesome. Thank you. And what is the clinical application of the class that you're going to be teaching this year?
I think it's really important that as licensed healthcare professionals, everybody understands not only the best practices from a clinical standpoint, but also what are the parameters for legal practice in our state. And so we have laws and rules in Florida. There are also federal standards that apply to legal practice for all healthcare practitioners. And as acupuncturists continue to become more and more integrated in the healthcare delivery model, it's important that as our clinical skills improve, we also understand what the legal requirements are for practice in the state.
And what are the benefits that you would say come with taking your class?
Well, I think it's, like I say, important that we understand where the boundaries are for not only our scope of practice, but understanding within our scope, what's acceptable, what's required for documentation, what's required for licensure, what's required for renewal, and having a good understanding of all of those requirements gives the practitioner confidence that they understand what's needed from them, as well as if there's staff and people involved in an office that either they're employees or contractors, is that the person in charge of that clinic really needs to understand the role of everybody that's in the office, what's legally required, and what's legally expected. And I think, remaining up to date, taking these renewal courses biannually bolsters everybody's confidence that they understand what's expected and that they're able to make the little adjustments to their practice from a management standpoint to make sure that they're continuing to comply with certainly local and state laws, as well as federal regulations that apply to healthcare practitioners.
Great. And can you share with us your professional history?
Well, I've been a licensed acupuncturist here in Florida since 2011, and the director of my own private clinic, alternative primary care here in Crystal River, Florida. And we service a small community of a county rather of about 120,000 people. And so we stay busy with patients all the time.
Oh, that's wonderful. And finally, could you describe a case or situation where the knowledge of state and federal requirements for legal practice came into good use for you?
Sure, there's small examples all the time, and everybody, we're used to doing things in a very routine and specific way, whether it's clinical approach to dealing with treatment for patients, how to prepare and do an evaluation and management and the treatment itself. But it's also important from a practice management standpoint that we have systems in place to deal with, intake, storage of documents, maintenance of charts and paperwork for people, and systems in place for complying with medical privacy laws that are required by the state, as well as HIPAA privacy laws as well. And I had an example of a family whose the mother had brought a minor daughter to me, as somebody not of age, and for treatment. And you know, I saw this person. She was accompanied by a mother several times for maybe something 4 to 6 treatments, and then they went and sought other care in other ways. And about 6 or 8 months went by, and was contacted by the patient, the minor's mother, for a request for records. And I had them complete the paperwork to request the copy of their records, and went ahead and prepared that. But when the mother came to the office, a conversation evolved about why she needed the records, and she disclosed several things to me that made me question whether or not I should be giving these records to the mother. And strangely enough, this is the same parent who brought the patient to me, signed all of the parental consents for care originally, but within the course of a year, um, due to a divorce that was going on in that family and some other internal challenges between guardians and the courts and whatnot, the mother's parental rights had been suspended by the court, and there was a guardian in place for the minor daughter. And as it turned out, I kind of pumped the brakes on that, and I said, look, I don't think that I can release these records to you, given what had been disclosed to me as part of this conversation. It required a phone call with her attorney. The attorney agreed that it would probably be, even though the mother was demanding these records, that I was right, and that she was not somebody who I could just turn the records over to. She was no longer the child's legal guardian. And so a subpoena was offered from the judge that was overseeing the proceedings, and then I could release the child's records to the courts directly. And this way preserve the privacy required and complying with the law that's required. And there's all kinds of little strange things that'll pop up in the career of any office. And the more familiar you are with, what are the medical privacy rights? How do those apply to minors? How do they apply to people with guardianship? These things are important to know. And it's not like, everybody's gonna, have this kind of information floating in your head. It's best that you have some sort of a manual for best practices that you can refer to in your own office, or you have a relationship with an attorney that you can reach out to for some specific advice on things. And so part of what we want to do with a course like the Laws and Rules program is to, demonstrate what's expected and what's required under Florida law, what you might expect as well under some of the federal standards for privacy, and then give you the tools to say, is this something I'm confident and I understand how to respond, or do I need more advice before you just sort of, um, stumble ahead with just following through with doing something that may be outside of what's legally allowed for you. So this is, we'll have time to discuss questions and answers, use other case study as part of this class. And I just use that as an example, even in my own career, for somebody who's a pretty solid understanding of what's permitted under the law. Every once in a while, you have something out of the ordinary come up, and we want to make sure that everybody is best prepared to respond. Sometimes the response is going to be, with a resource in your own office, or to empower you to say, hey, look, I think this is something I need, more advice on, and you can discuss it with the state association. Maybe there's somebody here that has an answer for you, or we can refer you to, an attorney to help with a question like that.
Wonderful, thank you. And that's such a great case example that you shared. I feel like we're all going to run into that situation at least once in our career.
It was
Right?
just one of those things.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time with us and for offering this really important class that is going to just benefit and empower all of us to continue to practice in a safe and legal way. So your class, it falls under the category of Laws and Rules, and it is a 3CU class. We are going to be offering it Saturday, August 26th at 2 p.m. live in Fort Lauderdale Beach during our conference. And I hope all of you can join us. As you can clearly see, this is important for all of us. We all need to know in order to continue a legal, safe practice so that you can continue to be successful and keep practicing for hopefully the rest of your life.
Just
So
a quick quick
Yes.
reminder is that, we're required to have 2 hours of laws and rules as part of our biannual renewal for license in Florida. So if you haven't, acquired your 2 hours of laws and rules, this is a convenient way to do it here in August.
Right. So this is definitely a must take class. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you for the reminder. Thank you for being here with us. And we hope to see all of you soon at the conference in August.
Thank you, Natalia. Thanks for the questions.
Thank you.